Wednesday. You have made it halfway through your week, halfway through your day, and I hope you're having a good lunch. Grab your sandwich and come join me. My name is Colleen Magnus, and I come to you live from the East Coast of Virginia every Wednesday at noon Eastern Time, so I can share my creativity with you. You can take a break. Everybody needs a little break in their day, and now it's your turn. So I got a little bit of a scratch in my throat today, so hopefully I've got cough drops in my pocket, so we should be able to make it through. But I am going to show you a really cool card. I love special folds, I love interactive cards, and today I am actually going to show you how to make a Slimline slider card. I was in the stamp room creating for hours yesterday, and I had so much fun. I could just play with paper for hours on end. But I've only made it once. We're going to do it today, so hopefully no mishaps. But y'all know what I always say. I love to teach, and I will teach you what to do, may teach you what not to do, but I promise to teach you something. So today I would like to take just a moment and dedicate this video in honor of a dear friend of mine, Sandy Alexander. I think some of you have seen her name pop up. She's a dear stamping friend. We've known each other for years. We each have June birthdays, so we celebrated it stamping together. And she is a wonderful person. Well, Sandy was diagnosed with colorectal cancer about 7 years ago, and sadly she passed May 31st. It's sad, but let me tell you what, she was a godly woman, she knew the Lord, and we had her celebration of life this past Friday, and it was amazing. It was so beautiful. It just reminded me that it doesn't matter how long you live, it's how you spent the time that you lived. She loved the Lord. She was in a house full of men, y'all. She had a husband, 3 boys, and he even had the audacity to buy a male cat. She was surrounded by men, and I think through her love, she just kept them strong. She kept them going, and just the things they said about her at her celebration of life was wonderful. So Sandy, I'm going to miss your name. She had moved to Missouri. I am going to miss your name popping up on the screen, but I love you, girl, and I know I'll see you again. So this one's for you. So again, I'm going to show you an interactive card, and it's using new online exclusive product. And if you don't know what online exclusive product is, I'll tell you what it is. Stampin' Up! Is offering product every couple of months. It's coming out, and you can only get it online. Now, if you get my newsletter, which if you don't, please go to creatingwithcolleen.com and request it now. But I will let you know when these products come out. So they won't be featured in a catalog, but they will actually be online. Now, the trick of it is, this is only their second release, but the trick of it is, even as demonstrators, we don't know how long it's going to be available. We don't know if it's coming back or not. So if it's something you really like, it's probably best to get it right away. Again, when you look at it, if it's there, you go online, you can order it. If it says currently unavailable, that means that it is coming back. They're going to get it in stock, but not yet. And I can always kind of give you an estimate of time when that's going to happen. And if it's just gone, well, guess what? It's gone. So the product I'm sharing with you today, it's called One Horse Open Sleigh. And y'all know I had to make that sleigh slide across the front of a card. And it really is beautiful. And the paper, the designer paper, like so many of Stampin' Up's designer papers, is just the star of the show. Now they also, even as demonstrators, we only saw a little bit for our pre-order. On July 6th, all the online exclusive product will be available for both you and me. They have, we did see a sneak peek. If y'all love that little red truck that everybody's been so crazy over the last couple years, there's a punch with the little red truck. And we did get a sneak peek at our Creativity Now event. It was a virtual event Stampin' Up! Had. That's going to be hot, hot, hot. So you'll want to jump on that. In the flyer, they had a beautiful Santa. He looked kind of like a stained glass Santa. So I am just excited for July 6th as you are. And I am also offering a free class with the product that I'm showing you today that I'll tell you more about when we get started. So speaking of that, who wants to get started? All right, so Hold on while I turn you around. You know how that goes. I have to do it quickly because the back side of my stamping room, oh my goodness, it's a mess. We have had company in town for my nephew's wedding. Then my stamping friend came in town and decided to stay an extra 2 days. So I am just now getting back in the saddle and in the swing of things. So I'm going to go ahead and boot up so I can look at a few comments before we get started. And I appreciate everybody being here. Cynthia from Indianapolis, Indiana. Thank you, Cindy. We have Bren. Good morning, Bren. Oh my goodness. She said, God morning. And then she said, oh, I'm sorry. She had typing problems. I think that's a good thing to say, Bren. I love it. Cindy, hello. And Renee. Oh, let's see. Let me read some of your comments. Diane's excited to see this card. Diane, I'm kind of proud of this card. It is a Slimline, which Slimline is just a long card. It's nice and slim and long. But this is an interactive card. So when you pull this little piece out here, it says, wishing you a season of cheer and a happy new year. And slide across. And keep in mind, you can slide this with anything. The sleigh was great, but it could be anything. I won't even start giving you examples. We're going to make anything slide today, and you can too after you see how this card is made. Excuse me. Judith, hello. Gwen saw the little great grand. Precious memories. Yes, we had seen when the baby was born. So cute. And y'all are sorry to hear about Sandy. Yes, Sandy, when you get up in the big scheme of things, she was extremely blessed. She lived 7 years with colorectal cancer. And, 5 is like the norm that they give you. Although we know the doctor's not in control. We know who is. But during that time, she always was just an example of how somebody with true faith just perseveres with something like this. And let me tell you right now, because I know Sandy would want me to tell you this, please go get your colonoscopies. Most people don't talk about that. But the thing of it is, it's a fairly easy test. You're asleep while they do it, and then you get to go to IHOP afterwards, eat a good breakfast, and go home and take a nap. That's my story anyways. But preventative maintenance in your life and in your body, it's what you need to do. And so please, get those colonoscopies. Okay, and I got Sherry from Indiana. So, okay. Yes, choosing a beautiful card to remember her by. The cool thing was, Deborah, her and I had a lot of the same taste. So every month we would get together and stamp with another group of demonstrators. And I always loved her cards and she always loved mine. And we used them a lot when we were having our classes. So here we go. Sarah, Cynthia, I'm back and I miss you. I missed you too, Cynthia. Hey, Lynn. And Barbara probably be popping on soon. So again, this is a card we're making. Super fun, a little involved. You have beginner, very basic, which can still be a great card. But this is definitely an avid card. But one I know you can all make, especially after I show you how. I had a teacher once and he always said, it's only hard till you know how. I don't care what that is. It goes for everything. So let me show you the suite that I'm using. Again, it's called One Horse Open Sleigh. It's a photopolymer stamp set. And you have wishing you a season of cheer and a happy new year. I love that because if I'm a little late getting my cards out, I can always say, oh, it was a happy new year card, not a Christmas card. Glad you got it on the 28th. Sending warmth your way, joyful. You got this adorable little rabbit. But then, again, the beautiful sleigh and the trees that go with it. Now you have dies, of course. So in the dies, I haven't made my cheat sheet yet. One of the things I'm going to do with the dies before I do it, y'all know I like to take a pen and outline all the dies on my cardstock so I know where they go. Because if I don't do that, I will never get them back in the same place and I just kind of throw them in the envelope. So just take, like this. Just take your ballpoint pen, come around each one, because they know how to get them on the paper. I did not. And once I do that for each of these pieces, I know where they go again. Little trick there. So you do have the sleigh. It cuts out the trees. You have the runners. You could take the runner for your sleigh and do it in a gold foil. And then, of course, you have your snowdrifts and your little bunny rabbit. Alrighty, let me set that aside. But as I told you, well, let me show these first, because once I get going on the paper, I'm just gonna savor that moment. We have the adhesive backed snowflake assortments. So these are nice. I love anything that's an adhesive back. Makes it easy. So when you open these up, you have two sizes. You have a white, a gold, and a copper. So this is one type of snowflake. They have a different one. And then you have a larger one here. So these are great for embellishing your cards. I need to keep those close because I'll be using those. Now the star of the show. This is the One Horse Open Sleigh 6x6 Designer Series paper. And the cool thing about this is, look, this paper is a lot longer than 6x6. I'm going to show you how to make this 6x6 a 12x12, and then you can cut it any way you want. So let me walk you through. You have seen Designer Series paper from Stampin' Up! With the scenic backgrounds. Gorgeous. Well, this is no different. So here you have that with a beautiful back here. You've got a tree with the snow and some more beautiful colors. I love this. It's kind of like a speckly. You have the fox running through the snow. Again, you have your snowy trees with a nice fence line. And that's the back. Here, you can make your sleigh going uphill. Snow drifts. Who knows? Maybe they'll give us a skier. We can make it somebody skiing coming down. Beautiful pattern on the back. Look at that. This is what the deers look like when I open my front door and I see them. They're like, "What? You caught me!" And then they don't even run. They're so unafraid of me. They're just there to eat my bushes. But here you have that cute little deer, reindeer. Then you have here, again, these are just gorgeous. So I know the wheels in your mind are turning to all the different cards you can make with this. When you have designer paper this pretty, you don't have to do a whole lot to make a gorgeous card. Like that. This I love. I'm going to have to do some kind of snowman looking up because here you're looking down through the trees. Beautiful. Look at that. Oh my goodness. It's only June 28th, and when I'm looking at this paper, I'm thinking, we can have fall and winter soon. Not that I don't love winter, don't get me wrong. We've just had a cool spring. We're just now getting into some of the heat. So we have to have summer first. And then this here, this is what I'm using. Love, love, love it. That lemon lolly, oh my goodness. Misty Moonlight, oh my. Now I have these two pieces. You get 4 of each of these in a pack. But I am going to keep these 2 because I have to use them. So let me put these aside. Okay, so now that you've seen the product, real quick before we get started, and I will remind you of this again. If you're going to do any ordering, you can go to my creatingwithcolleen.com. That's my blog. And for June, if your order is less than $150, use this host code. But the class that I'm offering is you cannot order these products until July 6th, but I recommend you ordering them on July 6th or as close as you can because they are going to be hot, hot, hot. So on July 6th, or really for the whole month of July, if you order the One Horse Open Sleigh Suite, so that's going to give you the bundle, the designer paper, and the little snowflake embellishments, you must use this host code here. If you do that, then I will mail you the parts to make 3 beautiful cards along with the PDF instructions to assemble your cards. So the One Horse Open Sleigh Suite, the number is 162130, sells for $72.50, and that will get you your free class. Now I already know with all the other online exclusive items that'll be out there, you're probably going to want to grab more of them. So if your order is $150 or more, then you are going to receive free host benefits. You're going to receive 10% of your merchandise back in free merchandise from Stampin' Up. So if that's the case, skip the host code and I will still mail you the 3 cards and the PDF for the class. And you can do all that at creatingwithcolleen.com by hitting shop now. So this is just letting you know what's coming. Again, you can't do that till July 6th. So you got plenty of time to ask questions. And we'll get it straight. So looking at my paper here, let me see how I did the two. I think I did it like this. You're going to have to put these together. So you're going to actually be splicing your paper. So what I've done, again, these are the two pieces of 6 by 6. You are going to turn them over. I want them to go this way. I don't think it really matters because it's just your trees. But you're going to turn them over and you're going to actually join them together. So when I do that, I am going to take just some regular Scotch tape. I will line them up, put a little bit of tape here. And I do want to tape it all the way down. I don't want any gappage. I think that's a real good word. Right here. Make sure you pull that in. And then just one more piece down here at the bottom. So I've joined the two pieces, and to really marry these two pieces together, you're going to take your stylus. So this is what I typically score things with. So on this seam, you're just going to kind of run your stylus to where you can feel those two edges coming together. We used to do this when I was in drafting. We used to do, let me tell my age here, vellum and ink. I used to do piping systems and electrical drawings. And if you had the drawing, you could actually cut a part of it out, put in a clear piece of vellum, burnish your edges, and then you have a new place to draw. Okay, so these two become one, and then don't worry about this piece in here because we're going to cut it and it will all come together. So I'm going to set this aside and real quickly show you the other parts that you need for your card. And Slimline cards, when I was looking at them, they really are any size. You know, you can have a Slimline card that is 6 1/4 by 3 1/4. You can have a Slimline card that is 3 1/2 by 8 1/2. So it's just a non-traditional 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 card that is long. So here I've got an 8 1/2 by 7 inch boho blue. I scored it in half at 3 1/2 on that 7 inch side. I have an 8 by 3 basic white and an 8 1/4 by 3 1/4 Cajun Craze. That's going to be for my inside. Well, I guess I could put it here for you to take a picture. Plus, I always do have try to take a picture of the dimensions, and I put it on my Creating with Colleen Facebook page. Everything I do is Creating with Colleen, just so you know. Then I have for the back of the front, I cut mine 8 5/16 by 3 5/16 because I wanted a little bit of a smaller edge on the blue. But this can still work if you do 8 1/4 by 3 1/4. If those little 3/16 scare you, don't be scared. It'll still work. So that is Cajun Craze. You're going to need a strip of 3 3/4 by 11 basic white. You're going to need a window sheet, and I'm going to leave this on here because this can get lost really quick. Stampin' Up! Sells their window sheets in 12 by 12, and you could do a month's worth of classes just on things you could do with the window sheet. So that is 3 3/4 by 1 1/4. I have a 1 inch circle, Cajun Craze. I've scored it in half. Don't know that we currently have a 1 inch circle punch, but every stamp room should have one. Mine's from the past, but that's where I got my circle. And you could really use any shape or any size. It's just for our pull. And then I went ahead and pre-cut from Basic Whisper White, the sleigh with the horse. So those are the parts you're going to need. Now let me show you. Did want to show you, when you are stamping with photopolymer, you want to use this is our piercing mat. You just need something with a little bit of backing because the photopolymer is a harder plastic. It's not soft like the red rubber. So you need something with a little bit of backing, but it is great because you can get fine detail with this. And of course, many people like the fact that you can see through it. So with that, I did want to show you, give you a tip on stamping. With a larger stamp like this, I always turn it over and stamp. And if we're going to use a Memento black ink, because we're going to be coloring it with our blends. So since it's not a foam rubber type stamp, I can twist it a little bit. And the reason I want to twist it is because I really want the two parts of his, I don't know what you call that, I was a city girl, harness, whatever that is the horse has to hold on to. Somebody can help me out, I'll watch my comments. But you can give that a little twist because I want that to be nice and dark. And then when you put it on here, just push down really good. Put the cap on your ink, otherwise you will be dragging something through it. That is experience talking. And then when you pull it up, you have a really nice dark image. Now, if for some reason you didn't, that's not a problem because you could just take our black marker and color in where it's a little bit dark. Now, I always wonder, should I just leave it cut or should I show you how to cut it? If anybody's new that is watching, I do like to kind of give them an idea because they're like, hey, how did she cut that out? Well, these are our dies, and what is wonderful about Stampin' Up! Products is our dies match our stamps, but a lot of times they can also match designer series paper, which I thought was just genius the first time I saw it. So when I line this up, you want to go ahead, let me get my head out of here. You're just going to line it up on the image. Make sure these little pieces line up in the sleigh and that the black comes all the way to the end. So when you have it lined up, you are going to just take a Post-it note to hold it and put the sticky side there, and it's going to hold it great. And then you're going to take our die cutting machine. And the die cutting machine it's compact. The sides fold down. It comes with a base plate, the plate for the cutting the dies, and also 2 acrylic plates. So you're going to take your base plate, the die cutting plate because it is thin, and then your clear acrylic. I will put it on here. And one of the things, let me do this also. Let me grab my scissors. The reason being, I'm just going to trim this off so I can put it in at a slant. There we go. If I put it in just straight, you know, it's kind of coming straight on that edge, you know, or this way. If you put anything that is long at an angle, it just rolls in there so much easier. So I put this clear plate on top. Make sure you're straight on each side. And then when you roll it through, new plates are going to creak. Don't worry, you're not breaking anything. But it just goes through a whole lot easier instead of tackling that edge all at one time. Then when I pull this out, you have your sleigh. In fact, I was having so much fun with it, I did quite a few of them the other day. So let me, getting a little nervous here, let me put a little cough drop in. Hopefully you won't hear it. But let's go ahead and make this card. We will just fold the base and get that out of the way. So we have our boho blue. I'm just going to fold it over, take my bone folder, give that a good crease, and set this aside. All right. For the paper, we're going to take the insides of this and put it over here too. For the paper that goes on here, I'm going to show you how to cut that because it is a special way. I have my pieces here. Oops, hold on, I dropped something. Okay. I have the piece here that we put together as one. So now this is 6 by 12. When I went to cut this, what I ended up doing, I'm going to take my paper cutter. Here is the seam. So I only need 8 1/8 inches. So I kind of was deciding, do I want my seam at this end of the card, down here, or do I want it at this end? So I kind of wanted it at this end because that's where a lot of my image is. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it 1 1/8 inch from the right. So 1 1/8 inch from here. So I'm actually going to turn it around. So I'm going to say 1 1/8 inch. Put my scoring blade up there. And I cut that. So my splice is over here. Now hold on to this because you're going to be able to make a whole nother card. Because again, remember, slimline cards are all different sizes. So this is now 1 1/8 and 1/8 inch. Now I'm going to cut 1 1/4 inches off the bottom. So when I'm cutting, you always want your paper up against the edge here so that it's straight. And I'm going to go to 1 1/8 inch. Okay, and just cut that. So see, you can't even tell where that was spliced. It kind of all just comes together. Now this has to be 8 1/8 inches by 3 1/8 high. So I just go to 3 1/8 right here. I've lined it up. It's straight at the top. And I cut it again. And that is how I get this piece that is spliced together. I can't let my paper cutter go too far because I'm going to need it again. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to mount it on my Cajun Craze. I think I'll use this adhesive. I want it to get nice and taped down there. I'm using a lot. You'll know I'm not usually an abuser like this, but I'm going to be cutting this, so I want to make sure it's sticking tight really well to the Cajun Craze. So I will line this up. Looks good. Push it down. So now what I have to do, what this actually is, this is a slit that my sleigh is going on. So I need to cut this slit. So I'm going to bring my cutter back in. And I'm going to cut it, it's going to be 1 inch off the bottom. And I'm going to leave it a 1/2 inch from each edge. So I'm going to take my Cajun Craze on that edge. I'm on the 1 inch mark here. And on the side, when you look at this, you have a ruler. So I'm going to start at a 1/2 inch. And since that's 8 1/4, I'll end at 7 3/4. So I'm just going in between there. And I've told y'all before, but in case you didn't know, the trick is we have tear and tape. You're going to see me use it on this project. But I put a piece of tear and tape, a strip of that underneath these dimensions here, because otherwise it's clear. And I had a hard time seeing the clear numbers. So I just put a strip of my tape on there so it's white, and I just never pulled the back off. Pays to stamp with a seasoned demonstrator, y'all. We know the tricks and we know the coping skills to be able to see things. So again, 1 inch on the edge here. And then when I cut this, again, there's 1/2 inch. And I'm going to pull it down to 7 3/4 right there. And just do it again to make sure you got a nice cut you've come through. And that is, if I can get it off my thing here, that is your strip. So that is what's going to be sliding along. So now that I have this, I'm going to try to color quickly. I've got my sleigh here, but I did want to show you the colors that I was using. Took a lot of different blends. And incidentally, when I do the class, I will have, probably the next week, I will have all the projects made, and I can let you know what other things you might need. So I'm going to start with the crumb cake, and I always like to start with the light. Now you can use the brush end, but you really need a light hand. If you don't have a light hand, you're going to eat these tips up, and you do not want to do that. So I'm just going to come in and just pretty much base coat everything with crumb cake. Everything except I want to color that strap around him a different color. Come in here. So who loves our stamping blends? You know, if you don't have the blends, please keep in mind we have awesome watercolor pencils. That with a blender pen works great. We have chalks. You can even use the blender pens in your inks. But I like to come in light, and then I try to start hitting like some shadows. Just kind of coming down. Again, I don't think you need to be an artist. I think when you're coloring, you just need some lights and darks wherever you're at. So once I put those in, I want y'all to see that. So see, they're not really blended, But then I could take the fine tip of the light crumb cake, and when I come in, that is what kind of pulls that little bit of color in and just blends it. So the two I've used at the moment are the light and the dark crumb cake. Just enough to blend. And then I have, from the Naturals colors, I actually have a bronze. So this is a bronze, and the bronze, when I use this, let me see. I'm just going to do the hair there a little bit, and then I could do some on his tail. And then, of course, the mane. And we'll do the ears a little bit darker. So again, I can come in with the light, put a little bit of that bronze in. And then I was excited because I actually bought the black blends. I never thought I would use them, and then I found I needed them for quite a few things. So for the hooves, in fact, let me use the dark one. Let me see here. No, let me go back and use the light ones. Here. Okay. So I've got the black hooves. Well, he's coming together pretty quickly. I think I really savored the moment the first time that I was coloring them, because I was here for a long time. I won't do that to you. For the sleigh, I always loved that I had the Cajun Craze blends. I did also buy the red, because there is red in this designer paper, and we'll need a red sleigh at some point. I'm sure of it. So I'm going to come around, just base that in, and then I will come with my clay here. Yeah, you're all saying you love the blends. I don't blame you. Make sure when you do, see how the blends can bleed through. Some colors more than others. Always have like a little scrap piece of paper under there. And you never want to leave your blends open and out. They are actually alcohol markers, so you want to make sure that they stay closed when you're not using them. Otherwise, they will dry out quickly. So I have that in there. Again, pull a little more of that in. I can use a little bit more pressure if I do my fine point. Okay, just like that. And something else that I really hadn't done a lot of, that it works well, they make a color lifter. So for the color lifter, see how I got out of the line a little bit? You know, that's going to drive me crazy. So I can lighten it up a little bit and pretty much take it off and pretend like it never happened. Oh my goodness, what a great thing that is. And I can also come in here and lift some of the color off of each one of these. It takes just a minute. Almost reminds me like it bleaches it. But that color will start coming off. And that, again, is how you can really get some good variation of colors on your projects. There we go. So once again, now on here, I wasn't sure whether to color this part or not. So I looked at the flyer and they had it colored and I liked it. So I'm coloring that part of the sled and then these little pieces down here. But again, remember, they have the gold foil runners that you can also put on there. And I thought that was pretty cool. Bring a little of that in. Okay. Oh, I think I wanted to make this just to carry that clay color in. There. Now for the people, we have different colors. This here, these are sold individually and they're like different tints of skin colors. So this is the SU 800. Let me see, I'm pretty sure. I used this on their face, the SU 800. But we have all kinds of colors from lights to darks. So you can color any way you want. Here I have the light Misty Moonlight. This is a bit small, so I'm going to try to go lightly on it. And then I have his coat. So I have the coat and I have his sleeve. Because again, I wasn't sure where this kind of ends. That's her muff. So I definitely had to have the muff. And then I believe his coat came around this way. Now for her, so excited. I got the new Moody Mauve blends, the end colors. And so here, I'll come in with this. What a pretty color, especially with the misty moonlight. And then this little bit is hers. Now this piece in the back, from what I could tell from the flyer, that is still the sleigh. Comes over on the other time, so I can just bring that in. And then to me, this looks like little packages or something they have down there. So I also bought the light pecan pie. This is a beautiful color. I was so distraught when they took away soft suede, but after I got this color, I was like, okay, I'm good with that. So here I have my sleigh. And you really needed to have this colored before we moved on. So all of this works with a window sheet. Put all these blends over here. Remember I told you you had to have that 3 3/4 by 1 1/4 window sheet? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this over, and the two adhesives that I'm working with, this is tear and tape. This is the tape I was telling you to put underneath the dimensions on your paper cutter. But it is a great two-sided adhesive and it's really strong. The other thing I'm going to use are the foam adhesive strips. So both of these are sold on page 138. And the foam adhesive strips are great because you can actually use them for shaker cards, or they're a little bit harder than a dimensional. You can use it for popping things up too. So I am going to take a piece of let me make sure again, I've only done this once, a piece of the tear and tape. And I'm actually going to go across from, might be a little too high, hold on. From my horse, like right here at his leg. Let me get that piece here. Right there, like at the legs. And I'm going to come across the sleigh down to about there. So now that I have that tear and tape, it's always good to push it down. Then you can I just trimmed my nails yesterday, so I don't know if I can get that with my nails. But if not, take either your paper piercer or a tip of your scissors and just pull that paper right up. Then I'm going to take the window sheet. So again, 3 3/4 by 1 1/4. And I'm going to lay that up against here, making sure it's covered. So what I have is a window sheet, and it's attached in the center. And if you want, I don't think you can really see it, but a little bit of it sticks out. And that is really the beauty of a window sheet, is you're really not going to see it, but I knew it was there, so I just trimmed that off. It's ever so small. In fact, I think I'm just even going to leave it. That's easy enough. So here you have your horse, and the way this is going to work, it is actually going to slide in. You're going to slide it so that this is behind the back, and then he's going to be able to slide on the front for your window sheet. And again, the beauty is you just don't see it. So what you have to do next, turn this over. This is my bottom. You're going to take one of your adhesive strips, and you're going to put this along the bottom of your card. Like that. So now that I have that, I'm going to take my sleigh. I'm going to slide it in again so it's over. And I need to stamp. I have a long piece of paper. This is the 3 3/4 by 11 inch piece that I am going to take off. So I want this in the back. I think that's as far as it can go, like right there. Let me put it here. So position it where you want it. And then I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to slide this up underneath. Make that just a little bit shorter. There we go. Okay. So this is going to slide underneath. And you know what I did? Hold on. Make sure this piece here is definitely at the bottom, because you're only talking an inch difference. So right at the bottom. I was up just a little bit, and that wasn't going to cut it. That'll be much better. So once I cut that, I'm going to slide this in here. And let me see. So this will be, once I tape it to it, that's going to slide back and forth. Pull it out. See where the sled is? Back here. That's where you kind of want it to go there. And I'm going to just tape this clear window sheet to that strip of paper. There. So I'll just take a piece of this. So this is just a piece, and I'm not going to pull this backing off. Just want to make sure it's straight. Yep. So I tape the window sheet there. It's kind of hard for you to see. And then I'll also just tape it on this side here. So now when I have it, it's going to slide. So that's how that works. Now when I do this, I will go ahead, make sure that's in there. I'm going to put another strip right above that. Wondering, I'm sitting here thinking, I wonder if this is, where'd that ruler go? Just a little bit thicker than 3/4. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3. It is. I think that's why I was stuck just a little bit. It's not quite 3/4. All right, well, we're going to roll with it. Make sure this is exactly 3/4. Mine's a little bit thicker. I think we can still make it work. So for this, I'm just going to go right above there, come across, try to keep it straight, and then I'll snap this. So that is a track that this is actually sliding in back and forth like that. So here I have this piece sliding. Now you don't want it to slide out the back. So what you want to do is put a small piece here. Thankfully you get a ton of this in the package. So I will just put this here so it's not going to go out the back like that. And you're going to put it all along here too. So I'll put a piece, because this piece has to stand up. So I'll put that there, here. Put one across the top. Like that. It's kind of like big dimensionals. And then I just put a couple diagonally in the center here. There. So that is how it's going to slide. It is actually staying inside the piece. Let me show you the other one. I have a separate one I'll show you. I'm running into trouble. Y'all know I'll teach you what to do, what not to do. Since this was like a 1/16 inch bigger, the strip, it's kind of wanting to come up through the cut there. So I'll have to be careful with that. But this is the extra one I had so you could see it. See how easy it slides? Because this is a mechanism. You had a little bit of room for the 3/4 and it came across. Anyways, we're going to keep rolling. So I have this. I can go ahead now, take this and peel all these off. I'm afraid I made that look harder than what it was. It's not supposed to be that hard. Who's going to try this card? Bren, I know you'll have it made by 4 o'clock. Who else is going to try this card? It's really easy. But think about the bunny rabbit. You can have a bunny rabbit jumping back and forth. Gosh, what do we have? The bicycles, the zany zoo. Y'all know that bundle is awesome with all the little animals. So much you can do with it. So I have this pushed all the way in. I have this, and you're going to have to make sure you get this straight the first time because as you can see, all the adhesive you have holding it down. So I will just take this. Let me pull it closer to myself. Get up there. Okay. So now that I have it, I have the card. That's going to slide back and forth. So what I'm going to do, I need to stamp. I have the words. Let me get a scrap sheet of paper here. I'm going to take my words and I'm going to stamp them with the Misty Moonlight. Yeah, you can do this on a regular size card. Once you do this little mechanism, it could even be on a 5.5 by 4.25 card. It's really up to you. I just wanted it to have a nice ride, nice long ride. So here I have the wishing you a season of cheer. But yeah, I wanted a good ride across the card. And I thought it's been a while since I have made a Slimline card. So that's why we're doing it this way today. But there are a few rules in stamping, but you're allowed to break the rules. One rule you shouldn't break, though, is having a light hand. Whether you are inking in the ink pad or coloring with your blends, you do want a light hand. As far as what you cut, how you cut, that is totally up to you. I think that's where the real creativity comes in. So here I have the wishing you a season of cheer. And I want to go ahead and take this down. I'm looking around. I have such a mess around me. I don't know where my... Oh, right there. Look, y'all need to do that. I'm like, I don't know where my adhesive is. It is right there all along. So that's what I tell people when we stamp in person, that usually the one who sits next to me has to work the hardest. Because when I can't find something, they got to go, I'll be like, where's my adhesive? And they got to say, oh, it's right there, Colleen. I'm like, oh, I see. That's how we do it. So I wanted this flat because I don't want my horse hitting it. So that's going to slide over. So we have wishing you a season of cheer. Now to stamp the words on the strip, you want to pull that all the way out because that's when you will see them. So I will take in a Happy New Year. Oh, got my fingers in it. And here I will just stamp in a Happy New Year. So let me see. Gwen said it's a beautiful card, but she may pass. Gwen, we are going to have to get together and stamp one day. And if we do, we will make this card. Because I felt like I made that one part look harder than it had to be, but it's really not, y'all. So now that I have this here, I am going to take that little circle I was telling you about. And I just scored it in half so I can kind of see where the exact middle is. And I'm going to take, let me see. I think I'm going to tape it on there first, and then I can just kind of trim around it to get it exactly where I want it. So I'm just going to take this here. This might have a circle. Right there. Then I can, because you're not going to see much of it, just right around that edge. Let me get that little white piece. I'm going to turn it over, and I'll just put my adhesive here. And just line up that. Excuse me. Line up that circle for the back. So when you slide it in, all you have is this little tab, and then you pull it out, and a Happy New Year. Wishing you a season of cheer and a Happy New Year. So of course we have to embellish it. And we will do that with our snowflakes. So here I have, let me see what I want to do. Let me take one of the copper, the small ones. Let's see. think I'm going to do a gold one. Let me do a pretty one of this, the gold, different shape. Right here. And they're flat, so your horse is going to, and sled are just going to slide right over it. And then let me take one of these, this copper one. And I will put that there. Oh, let me put one here also. So that they kind of see it, and that gives it a little bit of bling too. So Robin, I'm so glad you love my card. Yes, we will stamp one day together in person. Gwen is on my team, and she's such a blessing. We just had the pleasure of meeting Bren last month. So you live far, but not that far. We can see each other. So here we have the card, and it slides across. So wishing you a season of cheer and a happy new year. Now for the inside, I'm going to wait on the inside. I'll show you the original one. And I was crazy about it, and I wasn't crazy about it. We'll have to see. So when I did it, I had that extra strip of paper, and I thought, gee, let me cut that and kind of just, you know, do the rolling hills. I did the little bunny. I like that. And, of course, I love the little snowflakes. But then I thought, well, that's kind of bizarre because it's trees. And he's, like, jumping over the trees. So I am going to play with this. And when I come to you next Wednesday, because I am going to create again with the one-horse open sleigh, I'm going to do my inside a little bit different, and you will get to vote which way you liked it. So that is the open sleigh. Now, remember I told you you had, let me see here, you had that extra piece of paper, and I know I've kept you a little long, so I'm not going to complete this. This card will complete it. We're going to like do a wrap-up next Wednesday. It'll actually be July 5th. So the cool thing is it'll be the day before you can purchase this suite. And so I'll show you all these finished cards, and I'll also show you the finished ones that we did with the arrow fold. I did finish those, but we'll do it all at one time. So this was the other piece you had that was left over. So to do another slimline card, it is 6 1/4 by 6 1/2, and I scored on the 6 1/2 side, so it's 3 1/4. We're just going to fold this over. Again, a slimline card is just a skinny card. Any size you want. So I have this piece here. Then I just cut a 6 by 3 inch piece of the Cajun Craze. I'll put that on top here. And then I'm going to cut this designer series paper to 5 3/4 by 2 3/4. So I'm going to cut my 2 3/4 first. Let me put it there. That's my scoring blade. So my 2 3/4 by 5 3/4. So I'm just cutting a little bit off. I love the Cajun Craze in here. So it's like, do I cut it from here or do I cut it there? Oh, I'll cut it there. 5 3/4. So then I would just take this piece, and that's just going to go right on top there. So see, you still get 2 cards out of both of those pieces of 6 by 6, and I still have other pieces that I can play with. So let me put here, so I'm going to check your questions. I saw questions. So I will finish this card too to go along with the inside of this card for next week. Stephanie wanted to know, so will the tab fit in the envelope in them? It will, Stephanie, because here's the thing. I might even make the envelope. I might show you how to make an envelope next week to fit this. But with this, Stampin' Up! At one point did sell the Slimline envelopes, but we don't have them right now. With this one here, if you just use a legal envelope, the legal size, the cool thing is it will fit right in here. It's going to fit in there with the tab. Now, granted, it's not as nice of an envelope as what Stampin' Up! Makes, but I didn't have to make an envelope. It fits perfectly fine with tons of room. And you can buy a box of 50, no problem. This one, I would, it might fit in a standard envelope. I don't have one up here, I'll check. But I will let you know about that too. And if not, I'm sure we can make an envelope to go with it. So what do y'all think? Do you need a break from the break? It really is easy to make. It really is a lot of fun. And so don't forget, I am offering this as a class. If you purchase the entire suite, starting July 6th. You will get all the parts and the PDF to put them together for 3 different cards. They're not going to be this cards. You already have the video for this. And I'll give you, again, more information this week in my newsletter, requested at creatingwithcolleen.com if you don't have it. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. Y'all know I'll make them beautiful cards. Now, don't forget, this Friday, a lot of things end with Stampin' Up. We have our Designer Series paper sale. This is going to be ending. So you can get 15% off these select papers until Friday. And then don't forget, we also had our starter kit. So you can select $155 worth of product and only pay $99, and the shipping is free. And incidentally, this suite can also be included in your starter kit because as demonstrators, we always get the pleasure of being able to purchase early. So if you have any questions on that at all, let me know, get back with me. But I appreciate you spending your time. I've got a wonderful afternoon planned. I have a dear friend who had knee surgery, so I'm going to go drop her some dinner, and then I get the guilty pleasure of having a pedicure. I'm putting on my margarita pink nail polish because it is summertime and we get to go bright. So I love you all. Thanks for being with me. Do something creative. And again, any questions at all, if I can help you in any way, contact me. Best thing about stamping are the relationships, and I appreciate every one of you. Have a blessed day, and I will see you next Wednesday as we create again. Take care now. Bye-bye.